Vitality.
Vitality Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
With David Bauder.
Welcome back to another episode of Exercise Reset here on Vitality Unfiltered. I'm David Bauder, your host. Why doing less is the fastest way to long-term success. Now, if you listen to episode 1, we talked about making the decision, not just deciding to exercise, but deciding to become someone who exercises. That was the mental shift. Today, we're going to talk about another big mistake I see patients and people make. They make a decision of wanting to try too hard. I've watched this happen hundreds of times over the years. Someone gets motivated, they buy new workout clothes and join a gym, and they create an ambitious workout schedule. Monday through Saturday, an hour every day, cardio, weights, meal preps, the whole thing. Maybe even they wake up at 5 in the morning, and for a week or 2 weeks, they do great. Then life happens. They miss one workout, then another. The workouts start to feel overwhelming. Eventually, they quit. Not because they weren't capable, but because they tried to build a lifestyle overnight. Today, I want to convince you that you're just getting started, and doing less is actually the fastest way to succeed. So for our little opening exercise that I'd like to do, before we get started, let's go back to that sentence we talked about in episode 1. Complete this sentence. I am becoming someone who exercises because blank. Hopefully your answer is getting clearer. Hopefully it's becoming something deeper than losing weight, because today we're going to protect that reason. We're going to build a path that actually lasts. Now, why do we think more is better? There seems to be a belief that if a little exercise is good, then a lot must be better. It's how most people approach almost everything in health. If I'm going to start exercising, I might as well go all in. 6 days a week, 1 hour a day, running, lifting, CrossFit, boot camp, spin class. The problem isn't that any of those are things that I mentioned are bad. The problem is that they're often too much for somebody who's been inactive for years. Imagine you haven't played the piano for 20 years. Would you expect yourself to perform at a concert level in 1 month? Of course not. Exercise is no different. Your muscles, joints, hearts, and even your brain need time to adapt. Now, what's funny is when people think about exercise, they automatically think I'm training my body. But ironically, you're not training your body when you just start out. You're training your brain. This may be important. This is a really important idea that I'll share, because during the first few weeks of exercise, your biggest goal is not to improve your fitness, it's improve your consistency. Your brain is learning something completely new. It's learning that you're someone who shows up. Every workout sends a signal to your brain. It's a message. This is what we do now. That's why a 10-minute walk counts, not because 10 minutes transforms your body, but because 10 minutes reinforces your identity. And remember, identity always comes before long-term behavior. So what is the minimum effective dose? In medicine, we often talk about what's the minimum effective dose for a response. What's the smallest amount that will still produce a benefit? I think exercise should be viewed the same way. If you've done or haven't exercised for years, do you really need an hour? Maybe you need 10 minutes. Maybe you need 5. Maybe your first goal is simply putting on your shoes and walking to the end of the street. And if that's where you begin, that's success. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that if they can't do it perfect workout, they shouldn't exercise at all. And that simply isn't true. Some movement always beats no movement. Small win creates momentum. Think about pushing a heavy wheel. At first, it barely moves. You're pushing it barely moves. Each push seems insignificant, but eventually it begins to turn. Then it gets to go easier, starts to spin faster. Habits work exactly the same way. One workout doesn't change your life, neither does the second or the third, but eventually something does change. Something flips inside your body. Exercise starts to feel normal. You begin expecting yourself to move. You stop debating whether you're going to exercise today. You just simply do it. Momentum isn't built through giant leaps. It's built through hundreds of small victories. And every 5, 10, 15-minute walk you do to start out with is a victory. Now, stop chasing perfection. Perfection is one of the biggest enemies of consistency. People tell themselves, if I can't exercise for an hour, there is no point. If I can't get to the gym, I might as well skip today. If I miss one workout, I've ruined the week. None of this is true. Let me ask you something. If you forgot to brush your teeth yesterday, would you stop brushing your teeth forever? And the answer to that is, of course not. You wouldn't. You'd brush today. Exercise should be no different. One missed workout does not define you. One good workout also does not define you. It's the pattern over years that actually define you. The never miss twice rule. I love it. I apply it to actually myself. This is one of my favorite principles. You never miss twice. Life happens. You get sick. Things happen. You travel. You work late. Family obligations. That's completely normal and it's part of life. The mistake isn't missing once. The mistake is allowing one miss to affect your overall workout schedule. That mistake is allowing one missed workout to become 2 weeks. When life interrupts your routine, your only job is to get back on track as quickly as possible. Not perfectly, but quickly. Lower the bar until success becomes inevitable. I want you to hear this carefully. If you keep failing, the answer isn't to try harder. The answer is to make the goal easier. Instead of 60 minutes, walk 10. Instead of driving to the gym, walk around the neighborhood. Instead of lifting weights, do body weight squats right there in your house. Instead of saying, I have to complete my whole workout, say, I'm going to move for 10 minutes. Success builds confidence, and confidence builds consistency, and consistency builds fitness. It's not the other way around. The mindset minute. Today's mindset barrier is one I hear again all the time. I don't have enough time. I understand everybody feels busy, but here's my question. Do you really not have time for 10 minutes? Or have you convinced yourself that exercise only counts if it lasts for 1 hour? Because these are two very different things. 10 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, and 10 minutes the next day over a year, that's more than 60 hours of movement you didn't have before. Never underestimate what small actions repeated consistently can accomplish in your body. Now, what should you actively do this week? People often ask me, okay, David, patients ask me right in clinic, how should I exercise? What should I exercise do? Where's my exercise plan? Honestly, I don't care very much. All right. I like to give a shape of an exercise. I like to guide patients to do a little bit of strength training and then do some slow cardio. That's a very sustainable approach from my point of view. I really do put a lot of value in muscle composition in our patients. But the answer of I don't care that much, it is true. Whether you're walking, riding a stationary bike, swimming, stretching, using resistance bands, or walking your dog, dancing in the living room, it honestly doesn't matter that much. What matters is this. Can you repeat it tomorrow? Because repetition, not perfection, is what changes people. If you can start repeating the activity, it's like a flower blooming. It's going to expand into more and different types of exercises. So this week's challenge has 2 parts. First, move for at least 10 minutes every day. Not because 10 minutes is all you'll ever do, but because 10 minutes is enough to build consistency. Second, keep a streak. Put an X on the calendar every day you compete. You complete that movement. Don't break the chain. At the end of the week, I don't want you measuring pounds lost or calories burned or distance walked on average. What was your average heart rate? I want you measuring something much more important. How many promises did you keep to yourself? Because every promise you keep builds trust, and trust in yourself is the foundation of lifelong success. Now, to wrap this up, let me leave you with this one last thought. The goal isn't to become fit this week. The goal is to become consistent this week. Fitness is simply the result of consistency repeated over months and years. So don't chase intensity or being exhausted while you're working out. Don't chase perfection. I want you to chase successful day, another successful day, and a day after that. Next episode, we're going to talk about how to make exercise automatic. We'll discuss habits, scheduling, removing obstacles, and why successful people don't rely on willpower. They build systems to make sure that they don't falter in their overall program. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Exercise Reset here on Vitality Unfiltered. Remember, you don't have to be great to get started. You simply have to keep showing up. And I'll see you on the next episode.